Welcome to Slow and Steady, the podcast where you get to follow along as we build runners in public. Each episode gives you an honest peek into our lives as we share our struggles, our wins, and everything in between. I'm Benedict, and I'm feeling okay today.
Okay. And I'm Benedicte. Today is March 14th. This is episode number 239, and I'm feeling happy today.
Woo! At least one of us
You gave
is.
the happiness last week because I'm pretty sure you were happy last week.
I think I was happy last week. I don't remember why, but not last week, 2 weeks ago, I guess. That's why I don't remember. Whatever.
I think it was sunny.
The sun was yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is the sun gone?
The sun is gone. Like there was a little bit of sun earlier, but it's like yesterday was one of those days where I usually go for my daily walk. And yesterday I tried to go outside multiple times, and every time I stepped out the door, it started raining. So it was like, okay, let's go back inside.
You can go for a walk in the rain. Come on. It's good
just
for
didn't
you.
Feel like
I biked through the rain yesterday to go to an open claw meetup.
The problem is they did a lot of work in the forest. So all the pathways are super torn up, and the moment it starts raining, it becomes like this slushy, muddy mess, and it's not a lot of fun to walk through there. But then again, I could walk.
You're allowed. But I went on my morning walk today, and I was walking through the misty, not that good of a weather, over through my neighborhood, and I obviously didn't go to the parks for the same reason because the mud. So I went on my asphalt concrete walk, and I don't know. I just had this I would say I was happy, not just content. It was just that, and I think I've said that before. Sometimes I just have this a walk through my neighborhood. I have this realization that I just lots of shit has been going down in my life, but I won the lottery ticket of country, profession, just so many things are just really, really good. And I just feel very happy with those things, even though now I start crying, but I'm still happy, which is a nice, I don't know.
That is very
weird.
Nice indeed, yes.
It's weird that some things can be so shitty and I'm still happy in myself, even though, because we skipped the whole let's go over what happened last year at the beginning of the year. I said we will do it this summer. So I have been good. I've started seeing a shrink. Maybe that has helped. And those kinds of things. So, I'm taking care of myself, and it's giving back.
It's actually working. That's good.
It's working. It's working. Yeah. So why I'm a little bit crying though is that my mom is now moved from her young Alzheimer patient care facility to a regular care facility because she's kind of at her last stretch, which could last long or not. But she's in bed and can't really do anything anymore. So that's the sad part of my life. And then I'll just say now, for long-time listeners who might have noticed, things have been going up and down. This fall, after MicroConf, my cousin got shot and killed in Oslo, which never happens. It's still a wild ride. Yeah, so I've had a little bit of a, I don't know, felt a little muted the last, I guess, 5 or 6 months. And I think that's what was my realization after going into my open claw, hyper-focus frenzy and just having so much fun. Maybe not the most, I would still say it's useful, but maybe not the most productive use of my time. It kind of kickstarted that oh my God, my life is pretty darn amazing. And here I am, happy. And then I know it's going to go up and down, but baseline, it's not bad. It's not bad.
All things considered, I think we're probably doing doing okay nonetheless, right?
Yes. And I think another thing that's contributing to a little bit of happiness now is that we have, in the same period, we've had like a financial or like liquidity crunch at the long-term bike rental that I work as a fractional CTO. So my kind of contribution has been getting like smaller and smaller, just trying to get everything, like make sure nothing breaks too badly. And then we had a project around Christmas time where we were working on a theft flow that we had a little bit of like grant money coming in, where we had a collaboration with the city to look at like how we can work with theft on bikes in a fleet. And but then way back when, we had a conversation about the biggest issue for we is that we don't get we had a hard time getting financing of bikes in place. So if we were leasing out cars, any bank would like happily give us the money, because you buy the car, you lease it out for X amount of years, you sell the car out of the fleet. All of the banks have algorithms for this, so they know exactly how the financing work. But for bikes, they say, well, a bike is just a liability; it's not an asset. So you don't get the same type of financing, even though we can say that it's the same thing. Our bikes are an asset. They can be sold out of the fleets in the same way a car could. So it's been like a really hard slope, and our founder and Luis, who's the COO, has been working on this like continuously. And I think it was just a couple of weeks back, or like even just last week, we got a deal in place for financing another 150 bikes this year, which means we can start selling bikes or renting them out, but we call them selling because, it's a sale to get people to sign up for a subscription.
Yeah.
And if you can like get those 150 bikes, and then I think there's an agreement for next year. Like I'm not 100% on the details, but this means that we can go from being profitable on a bike level to being profitable on a company level. Because like each bike is profitable, but we haven't had enough bikes to be profitable on a company level, because this is not a SaaS. You got to buy a bike, like large hardware needs to be bought before we can offer our services. So that is like a huge like weight off of everybody's shoulder, which means I can like, work on improving the system and not just like making sure it doesn't blow up. And then in addition to that, same week, this like large grant that it's a collaboration between, I think, like 5 or 6 or 7 companies on a 3-year IoT project for managing bikes in the fleet. So it's us and many other like more of those like sharing bikes companies. Like there's a collaboration here where we're doing research and development on trackers basically in bikes, and the data we can get from them and what we can use that for, and we need, and our part there is predictive maintenance, because we have very good maintenance logs, and then it will be to see like what can we do if we have like real-time data, what can we do around long predictive maintenance. So all of those things came together. I think it was like on my Women's Day brunch, the founder was like, do you know what, like I don't know what happened, but like suddenly it all came at the same time. So very good morale at we right now.
That's very nice. So cool. I was just kept thinking with IoT and stuff like that in collaboration. We have a mutual friend in Oslo, right? Like Marcus, who works at Nordic Semiconductor. Aren't they doing stuff like that as well?
Probably, like, because they have, but their they have some, it's hardware at least, or like
like they're more like the people producing the tracking devices, right?
Yeah, but that was a good thing you reminded me, because I see him in my LinkedIn, and this is a reason to have coffee.
Yeah, this might be a good. There might be some synergies there. Who knows?
Yeah, and also it's just nice. Like Oslo is not such a large tech community, so people are very forward with helping each other with these kinds of things, because we kind of all want the like innovation and tech of Oslo to kind of level up, or we're always interested in getting more people on board, or cool project happening. So it's usually easy to get a coffee and get knowledge from people, without it being like an official consulting gig or whatever. And the meetup like there used to be a ton of meetups pre-corona. It's been very slow but with AI now, there's like AI meetups every night of the week. So I went to one last night on OpenClaw, which was interesting. So I just want to say head up to the dudes mostly out there. I think I wrote devs in my notes, but I meant dudes. Think a little bit about how you name your bots, because I will
I will judge you based on your OpenClaw name.
When all your secretary bots and have female names, and all of your tech bots have male names, you will be put in the column in my secret notebook about who you are. So just a warning. Fair warning. Fair warning.
Now that's not like now I'm starting to think if this might be, well, it's probably not a good idea anyways, but like if there's some inherent like stuff in the training data based on names for the roles, like like some built-in bias that if your, I don't know, secretary bot has a male name, it will perform worse, and the other way around with like,
I mean, there's so like, much bias in the training data. Like this, I saw this one woman who was like getting help from I don't know which, but like one of the AI assistants to write some LinkedIn post, because she was nursing, or no, she was saying that she was changing diapers while like conversing with the AI to actually do things, like she could multitask. But because what she was doing was changing diaper and coding, it just defaulted it to being a guy, like that she was on paternity leave and not on maternity leave. Well, if it was just changing diaper, then it would be maternity leave. So like, yeah,
it's wild.
So don't perpetuate the bias. That's what we're saying.
Yeah,
or try
exactly.
At least.
Don't do this.
But then, what does Jean-Claude say about me? Let's leave that for another conversation.
Oh, what did Jean-Claude say about you?
No, I was just saying, like, what does like his name and his personality say about me?
Oh, you mean
like,
that?
Yeah. Because I saw somebody on Twitter say, I think it was Claire Wu who has a podcast called How I AI, which is super interesting. You should watch her podcast, or like video podcast. But she had like a throwaway tweet where she just said like, your OpenClaw personality says more about you than anything else.
I think we established that yours has a pretty fun personality, which kind of fits.
Maybe I mentioned this last time too. So yeah, because mine is a martial art crab. So
yeah, I think it's kind of funny.
But to conclude the we and AI part of my update, I think also interestingly, like this funding or this unlock has happened at the good place, because we can. So I will be, working as a CTO. Ola will be working as a developer for we. But with AI like enabling us, I think we will be able to do all of the things that we want, and we might not have been able to do all of the things that we want with kind of this money if we needed like to staff up to like 5 people or something like that. So I think it's a super interesting project from a like, let's get like a proper harness in place, and let's have AI do what AI is good at, and it's small enough that it is kind of comprehensible, and you can reason about it as a human and as an AI, and we can still check all the work because it's not like Stripe. It's a small code base, and it has very standard features. Like you're ordering things, you're booking it. It's very crud. It's very so I'm looking forward to like, because the tech itself, I guess, or the features itself is not that challenging for me personally, but like being able to set up like AI and Ula and the COO to all be able to like collaborate with the AI and like how we do that, I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
Yeah, I can see that. Like this might be a good opportunity to really see like kind of survive in like in a real world use case that where you basically don't hire people because of now you have AI for this.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Any updates
and I
from
think
you
timing,
before I do my other updates?
the timing with the financing working out is probably also good because I assume people rent more bikes in the spring. I think so. Kudos.
So if you're in Oslo, we're doing a deal. Yeah. The 21st gets a free lock and cover for their bike.
Ooh, sounds good. I'm not in Oslo, unfortunately, so not for me.
No bike for you.
I actually have a bike, but it's in the basement, and we're basically not using them because the only place to properly store them is down in the basement, and carrying them through the staircase and through the living room is not fun. So they're basically down there. That's it. Anyways,
that's too bad.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate, but whatever. We'll eventually figure this out. I don't have many updates. I think the biggest achievement of last week was that I recorded 2 new videos.
Woohoo!
Woo! Yeah, I finally sat down, and in the end, I think it only took me an hour or 2 to record them, cut them, and run them through Auphonic, which I always forget because it's so good. It just improves the audio quality so much. Same thing we do with the podcast. And yeah, I recorded the 2 videos on array filtering for social media. I think one went out today and the other one will go out later this week. Just showcasing a little bit of what we can do with the new filters. And I'm planning at least to do another video this week, or maybe even 2, about the teleport node in our workflows, because that's always when we showed that part in demos and conversation with customers, they always say, "Oh, wow, I have never seen anything like this anywhere else." So I think this might be a good opportunity.
Have I heard about this feature? The teleport
node? Maybe.
Are we in a sci-fi movie?
Yeah, like it's it's actually teleporting people into workflows. Yeah, it's like a fast forward mode for workflows where you can just like pull people from one place to another place when something happens. Like the default use case that I'm probably going to show is like, imagine an onboarding campaign where you nudge them to do something for like 2 weeks, but if they do this in week 1, you don't want to send them the rest of the campaign. And you could either do this by like doing multiple checks whenever you're about to send something. Like, did they meet the condition? Yes. Then don't send it. If they don't, then send it. Or you put a teleport node right at the end, and when stuff happens, for example, they become a paying customer, it will just like pull people forward all the way to the end of the campaign, and then either exit immediately or do something else that you just define after that. So it's a cool feature. Other tools have it, but it's usually named awkwardly. Like sometimes it's a goal and stuff like that. And we kind of wanted to separate
is such a good name.
we thought long and hard about this. Lots of back and forth, I guess. Like we had exit goals and campaigns, but like exit conditions. But we wanted something that's like, you can teleport anywhere basically as long as it is forwards, and you cannot teleport into conditions, so you cannot skip stuff. But like you can pull people from anywhere before to this point. So we needed to find something. I don't remember what the other options were, but like it went through a couple of iterations. But teleporting just sounded cool.
Yeah, and so the script, like, what would that be me? Word am I looking? Like, it actually describe what is happening. Like, it is a good metaphor. It's a good UI metaphor, or like a name like it. Like when you said
Yeah,
it, I was like, yeah, that's what I think it does. But like, tell me, what does it do? Because I haven't heard
right,
about it. Like my immediate thought was like, oh, I'm like tunneling under. Like I was thinking tunneling, even though it was teleporting. I was like
right.
envisioning a little tunnel from like one node that just like skips all of the other and comes up.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, exactly. That's
in
exactly what
Super
it's doing,
Mario,
right?
where you
Yeah.
go down one tunnel and then you pop up somewhere else and you skipped a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It just the difference is that
Ooh,
you don't
for
need
the
an
video,
entry,
you
right?
should have a little Mario that like, and then
Oh,
and then
uh, yeah, maybe.
I'm full of good ideas today. Just kidding.
Yeah, it's just like just trying to figure out how to do this without making it a massive headache in editing. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, like I should figure out a good way to visualize it. But then again, if I overthink it, I'm not going to record the video. So
record the
we'll
video.
see. Yeah, just
Yeah,
record the video, right? Like, and
just
not
record the
obsess
video,
over the
and then I
animations.
can say like do 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 when I
Yeah,
watch the video,
yeah. Yeah, or use the music or something like.
or under when it goes under. Isn't that when it goes like do 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 do
Yeah,
do do do?
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. Yes. Oh, by the way,
Lillian,
like,
Lillian just got a Nintendo, so
oh, interesting. Just the other week, I drove past, like on the highway, drove past Frankfurt and noticed there's the Nintendo office, Germany. I'd
mm,
never noticed that. It's just a small sign on a huge building, but I was like, I kind of know that. Anyways, side note.
know this.
Um, so I recorded 2 videos, and the other thing I spent doing for most of the past 2 weeks is continue working on the serializer implementation that I mentioned. And it's working. The tests are green by today, basically. Let me double check. Okay, I broke 2 again, but I guess it was green. You have to believe me. Like all, I don't know, 7,000 tests or how many there are, were passing earlier today. So not quite confident I can push this to production just yet, but it's getting into a place where we can replace the old implementation with the new one. And now it's a matter of like just polishing it a little bit. So it actually does. I guess right now it does exactly the same thing as it did before, and now I'm going to add the stuff that I wanted on top of it. So yeah, still exciting times. Still don't regret it, even though I hinted at maybe regretting it on Twitter and not on Twitter, on social media last week. But yeah, getting there. So that is fun. And the other thing I started doing since we last talked is getting a little bit more deliberate about my social media presence.
I've seen
Um,
it.
and you've noticed that is good. So it's been one of the things on my mind for a while now. You could probably argue that even last year I had one of the goals of like working on my personal brand, but inspired by your work with transcribing the podcast episodes and like reading your blog posts and stuff like that, I also set up some tooling to help me surface ideas that I can talk about on social media. And I'm still writing most of the stuff myself, but now I basically have a thing on my to-do list on Mondays to think about what am I going to post this week. And I signed up for Postpone, which is a social media publishing tool, a scheduling tool that's pretty nice. I mean, I've used Buffer for the longest time. I think like I don't know, 10 years maybe. But Postpone is kind of new and fresh, and I mean they've been around for a couple years by now as well. But like it's such a nice, lovely little app that it's actually fun doing all of that stuff again. And yeah, doing that a lot. And basically on Monday, planning the week, scheduling posts. I think I'm planning 3 posts during the workday, and then not every day, like during the work week on 3 days, post something. And then I'm also planning to do more personal stuff on the weekends, so it doesn't fully like. So it's not entirely useless this, useless that. So yeah, let's see.
But
Let's
it
see
helps with having, like, I found, like, when I had the transcriptions and had like the AI go through, it's because it's so many things become second nature, and you don't think about that being interesting, or like it doesn't even have to be novel, but just like, okay, but you did this thing, like you can talk about it, or you had this idea, like what I've had now. I've asked it to like look at everything I've said about AI, and it's like, well, this has been your journey, and but you were saying things, you know, actually 5 months ago that I had forgotten. Like, yes, I did actually have this insights that some of it now turns out to be true. Like it that I just, you know, I talk and talk and talk, and then I just forget all of my good insight.
Exactly.
And having that, so even if you're writing everything yourself, it's just like having those topics come up. Because I have found myself in the past reading other people's posts and be like, I knew that, like I could have written about that, but I just didn't think it was, you know, newsworthy
I think
because
that's
it's now known to me.
That is the problem with like being self-aware enough of realizing that all the stuff you know and take for granted aren't necessarily a given for everyone else out there. Sure, there might be people who read this and are like, wow, boring. But there's probably also people out there who are like, oh, interesting. I didn't know that, or like, I learned a thing, or tell me more. And yeah, so.
But it's the same advice as with talks, like speak to yourself like 6 months ago, or even a year ago. Like there are things you didn't know that now other people don't know, and they might need your perspective on it, even though there's a lot of perspectives out there. Like maybe, you know, sometimes your perspective is needed, and let's not shy away from that. But
absolutely, yeah.
Since last time, I've had Jean-Claude social media himself.
Okay.
So he wrote, "My human doesn't like filling out forms." So, and then it's signed Jean-Claude. So he wrote those tweets or LinkedIn posts himself. They've done pretty well.
That's fun.
Because one of the things I've used him for lately, or 3 cases, I think, where I was planning to fill out these forms, you know, and there's 3 steps, and you have no idea what's on step 3, and I've always had I have trouble with forms. Might be because I'm dyslexic, but I'm also noticing, like, I don't want to start filling this form out, and then on step 3, I need to write an essay. Like, this is, you know, and usually they're all gated on the client side. So, you know, it's in there in the code. So I've had Jean-Claude go through the form and figure out what all of the steps and questions are. And then we can work on the questions ahead of time. So I don't have to go into the form blind. So he wrote social media posts about that.
Right. Yeah, that's good. Oh, another thing I did last week just reminded me is like I set up a wiki data entry for user list. And I have to double check if it's still there. Let me double check. It's still there. I wasn't quite sure if it would survive the reviews and anything, but like, side note, I have no idea if that helps with anything, but I've read an article where it was basically, the gist was something like domain rating doesn't matter that much anymore in Google. Like it's more like entity recognition, or like entity rating starts to matter more. And with all the work I've been doing recently on our website, adding like structured data and schema org definitions and stuff like that, it felt like a next logical step to start like putting user lists onto other databases, basically. And that article I read, that maybe we can link to it if I find it again, basically said a similar thing. Like, if you can make sure your entity is properly recognized and properly linked between all of those resources, it will ultimately help you build entity authority, or whatever you might call it. So that's a that's a thing we're trying now. to see if
Interesting.
it works.
Yeah, that might, again, like I would imagine the wiki is one of the sources for like AI search.
Right. Yeah. The article said it is, and it mentioned that Wikipedia specifically is
Mhm.
a common source, but I don't think Useless is big enough for its own Wikipedia page. I mean, I could try setting one up, but I'm pretty sure it will get shut down.
Yeah.
But apparently, Wikidata rules are not that strict, and as long as
Mhm.
I think you have to still prove notability, but being a registered company and being listed in like company databases is
Mhm.
apparently good enough. So
Mhm.
I gave it a try, and yeah, provided references to those databases and incorporation docs and stuff like that. And I think it's been a week and it's not been deleted. So maybe,
Another thing we
maybe
need to
not good
check
enough.
back in 6 months. We need to get the AI to go through the transcripts, and whenever I
Right.
say let's check back in 6 months, it reminds us in 6 months to check back.
Exactly. That's a good idea.
Mm. I have a little. Were you done with your update or like your?
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
it for now. Maybe I remember
Mm.
something else.
Yeah. So I had I've written, because I remembered I've written a couple of articles about like AI tooling and thinking. Um, and one of the things was working on the Outseta MCP. We had a local MCP, and we have a customer, Bastian, who is great with feedback, and also like an early adopter. So he had been using the MCP and came back with like, but I have to set permission on every tool. And I was like, yeah, we only have one permission level, like, and but then he provided screenshots of like how our MCP looks, how the Notion MCP looks, and I realized that you could like in your MCP you could set you can group the tools, and then when somebody uses your MCP server in Claude or other tools, they're grouped together and they can say always accept on one group and like
Hmm.
not accept, and it's grouped I guess on read only and destructive or like writing
Hmm.
updates. It's read or update, I think the groups are at this
Hmm.
point. So I went through all of the tools and gave them their correct kind of it's like a note, now I don't remember, some kind of schema thing. You say like this is a read
Right.
only and this is not. So he was super happy about that. So I wrote a blog post about Bastian being a great customer basically, and what he taught
Uh,
me.
that reminds me. I think I mentioned that we have a like experimental MCP server out there as
Mm.
well, and one of our customers who suggested it is also actively using it together with their business partner. And was it last week or the week before? I got a bunch of notifications from our error monitoring that like weird stuff was happening,
Mm-hmm.
and a couple exceptions because like unexpected data and stuff like that. And I started looking into this and noticed that it was coming from this one particular customer, and it was like,
Yeah. Mm.
what is going on? So I wrote him a message and was like, whatever you're doing, like it's causing like it's fine. Keep doing it, but I'd love to know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And at first he was like, I'm not doing anything. Like, what are you talking about? And turns out his partner was asking Claude to write some messages and stuff like that, and then asked Claude to use Claude for Chrome to connect to our like UI and look at the workflows, and then make changes to the workflows. And Claude, via the Chrome extension, reverse engineered the API calls that our front end uses to then redo the structure of the workflow. Or actually, it actually created a new workflow just by replaying API calls that it figured out by itself over a couple of iterations of trial and error, like literally
Mm-hmm.
error. And it worked. Like it had some issues, but for the most part, there was a fully fledged workflow with branching and stuff like that. There were some issues with the way the conditions on the branching and stuff like that was rendered in our UI, because our UI assumes a certain structure, but the structure isn't enforced on the server. Like the server is flexible. It's like I don't care, like whatever, like true, false, whatever you like, whatever you want, right? So the server is pretty like flexible on that, but the UI is like, no, like I want this to be in my schema, like I want this to be wrapped a certain way, and obviously that part the AI didn't pick up. But yeah, like it was wild just seeing this, and like he was kind enough to send over the chat history, and like seeing it figure stuff out over multiple iterations, like definitely was the most efficient process, I guess. But in the end, it worked, and it figured it out, and it kind of reinforced the idea that the MCP server should just allow this.
Yeah.
But the guardrails that I keep talking about are still important, and even if we don't build an MCP server, as proven, we will need those guardrails. Like we will need those guardrails no matter what, because the AI will figure out how to use our API for their to achieve their goals. But still, it was like I was mind blown at this point. So
yeah, because that's one of the things it does really, really well. And I have this like idea for a blog post that I like. I'm not getting. Maybe it helps talking about it, where I'm like, we're back to the thin client, right? Like there was a time where people sat on like literally sat on what was a thin client. Like they had a little thing on their desk and it was connected to the big computer somewhere in the basement. And then we've been oscillating between thick and thin clients. And we've been doing very thick clients, especially in like React land, right? A lot of business logic is living on the client. But now with the agents, business logic got to go back to the server, and we're getting thin clients again. And one of those thin clients is Claude. And one of those thin clients is your front end. But and so it's been oscillating, and now we're back to the thin client world, and it's gonna have a massive change.
I didn't really think about it, but you're right. Like, I mean, I've been doing this long enough that I've seen like multiple swings of this in my mind, this is a pendulum. It's like always between two extremes with everything. And
it's been a long
some
time
are going
coming.
faster, some are going faster, and some are going slower. Like it's the same thing with like like running your own servers or running everything in containers and stuff like that. Like going managed or self-managed, self-hosted or cloud, like or front end, back end, thin client, big client, whatever. It's always the same stuff.
So now I need to write that blog post.
Yeah, you need to write
that social media post, because that was some good insight.
That's a good insight. Yeah, indeed. Like more stuff needs to go back to the server for sure. Yeah,
that is a great segue into my last update. Is that with Outseta we do soft gating on the client. So if you use something like Webflow, that is a site builder, we cannot change anything on their servers. So like what has been one of its Outseta's great features for people is that we'll kick people off with JavaScript. But that has been enough to get people to pay for content. But because of the AI, not because of that, but also people being more technical and there being more of a need for a server, or people asking for server-side protection as well, like because that is something people want. I had this epiphany, I don't know when, where I was like, but we could make a little like Node SDK that gets the same rules, because you set up the rules in Outseta. So it can get the same rules, but then it can enforce it on the server level. And I'd already picked up that some people are putting Cloudflare workers in front of their Webflow for many reasons, like a reverse proxy or for whatever and whatever. And if we have an SDK that they can easily use, they can actually server-side protect their Webflow sites without us needing access to their Webflow, like to the Webflow server. And it's like, it's not a big, like they could have done this themselves, but like this is also always true with SDKs. But like if we make a very sweet little, so it's almost completed, where it's just like, I think I ended up like check access, and you get back like, should this user have access or not, based on the cookie. So you'll have to store the token in a cookie, and not in local storage. But anyway, so I was like, oh, this is, it's a good way to solve this for a lot of people, because then the package could also be used in Next, in Astro, in any server-side rendered JavaScript framework. They can use this, and suddenly they have server-side protection. I was like, yes, this, it doesn't have to be harder than that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's actually a smart idea. That never occurred to me, but it totally makes sense. I think that's a good use for like, was it Cloudflare Edge workers or something like that, right?
Yeah, that's the Cloudflare worker or whatever. Yeah,
that's a good idea.
So hopefully we can get some customers testing it, because I don't have any Cloudflare work. I don't want to learn Cloudflare workers at this point.
I don't want to Cloudflare anything at this point.
No, I can test it for Next. I can test it for Astro, and then I'll need somebody to test it on a Cloudflare worker to see if there's any, because it's a different runtime, But I don't think like I'm just using very standard features. But AI was like, maybe it uses a different fetch. I'm like, I hope not. So, well. But even if it polyfills fetch with some other fetch, it should still work.
It should be like get should work still, right?
Yeah, it's like it's a get call and some logic, and that's it, But then that conversation moved it to, okay, maybe the permission check should be on the server again, with the thin and the thick, like that, because we just do that in the client side script now, and now I've duplicated it in the Node SDK. Maybe it should be a call to our servers. Does this person have access to this page? But then it's caching and blah, blah. But this is a very good way to solve it for now, for a lot of people who've been asking for it. So I'm very happy with that solution.
Nice. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, right. Like didn't even occur to me until now, but like feature gating in the client side only, like, that was fine for non-technical people, but like with AI, everyone is kind of a technical person now.
Exactly. So, exactly. And also on the note on reverse engineering, I just have to say, on the OpenClaw meetup, all the dudes were like having their assistants order food off of Oda, which is like the Norwegian delivery of groceries things, and they do not have an official API.
Yeah. It's wild. Like I did some experiments with like the Playwright MCP, which also allows you to remote control the browser in the past. And I also told it like set up a workflow and stuff like that. But in that case, it was just like looking at the UI and clicking the buttons, right? And it did work like that as well. Like it was dragging and dropping and stuff like that. And that's fine. Like, right. But like what that particular instance, it actually was looking at the HTTP requests going out to the server from the UI, and then reverse engineering those, and then replaying some of those. Like that is just wild. I just can't get over it.
And I think this is where we need the, what's it called, idempotency keys or something, so people can't just like replay API calls over and over.
Right. Yeah. I guess it didn't really replay them, but like it modified them and pretended to do new ones. But whatever.
Yeah. But if you were a bank, for instance, it would be nice if it couldn't replay the same.
Yeah.
The same transaction over and over again.
How do you tell? I don't know. Well, not my problem, I guess.
Yes. I think that's
anything
it.
else? No? Okay, cool. Then let's wrap it up. Have a good one. See you in 2 weeks. And
we'll see you around the interwebs.